No, you won't have time for that. It is the day.
I know. It's late.
It's
I know.
weird. We're out of sorts. And until you push the button, I'm too chill.
Okay, well.
All right, do it.
This is the Long in the Boot podcast, the podcast coming to you from the heel of the boot of Southwest Louisiana. I'm your host, G. Long, and sitting across the way, as always, is Deb.
Hello.
Happy
Hello,
New
everybody.
Year.
Hello,
Yay.
2025.
2025. Happy
welcome
New
to
Year.
it. All right.
Okay. And if you want to reach the Long in the Boot podcast, it's longintheboot@gmail.com. The number is 337-502-9011. And the website for all your podcast needs, longintheboot.com. There we go.
You continue to amaze me that you remember all that.
Well, it's not easy.
I could be under
this will be our
severe duress.
My test for dementia.
I would know the 1-1 at the end. That would be about it.
Well, it's the 1-1 at the end that reminds me that it's 502 and not 501. That's always where.
Okay.
If I'm going to screw up,
All
that's
right.
where it's going to happen.
I can't even remember the date.
Anyway,
of my son's
this
birthday
podcast would
sometimes.
normally have gone out at 5 o'clock this morning.
Yes.
Actually 4 o'clock in the morning.
But we thought we'd have a little fun, shake it up.
Thought I'd record it on New Year's Day because why not? And then, of course, wake up and see immediately that some psychotic ran his truck through Bourbon Street while people were celebrating the coming New Year. And this is why we can't have nice things.
This is why
and of course now already we're looking at the news as it's happening.
Yes.
Live.
Yes.
Breaking.
They're saying now there were incendiary devices and that it was a terrorist attack. And the FBI had said no. There has been a lot of contradictory information, but at least 10 people are dead. At least.
And it says now breaking. This breaking. And it's
always breaking.
Breaking. The truck crossed the border. Eagle Pass, Texas, 2 days ago. It was spotted crossing the border somehow. It was tracked crossing the border and then apparently untracked for 2 days.
And then now we turns up in New Orleans. Yep. And so it just traveled the I-10 corridor.
The driver, a male, reportedly jumped out of the vehicle, opened fire on police after hitting the crowd, and they had a brief shootout, and the suspect then achieved room temperature. And
so really, well, you know what? Our listening audience knows all this too.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's happening literally right as we're recording this. Normally, again,
but by the time people hear it, we
would have recorded this yesterday or day before.
It would have been
Sunday.
Like summer children and had no idea.
Yeah, but we decided yesterday we weren't recording the podcast because we had a tree being murdered on our property. And
I said it just went in another form. It's being turned into something
changed
else.
Into something else.
It could ultimately be book pages.
Well, as all of our science savvy listeners know, you can't destroy matter. You can only change it.
That's right. So it's just going to be in another form. I don't feel terrible about that. I feel bad about it being one of our hummingbird trees in this season.
Apparently it's also been a woodpecker tree.
Yes,
and
that was part
our tree
of the
cutter
damage.
guy said the thing looked like. He said it looked like it had been hit by thousands of rounds of ammunition. So there were holes everywhere.
And that's true. When we do our porch sitting, you can hear the woodpeckers.
Tuck, 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 tuck.
Yeah. And I have a hellaciously large owl who is very loud.
And then of course you also hear the when the horses go by.
Shut up. There are no horses going by. All right. So it's 2025, and we found like that this would be an exciting way to do it.
Yeah, we'll just do it on New Year's Day. It's going to be quick and well, I mean,
is it going to be dirty?
I was going to say down and dirty. I guess this one story makes it somewhat dirty.
Oh, are you going to? Okay. Well, I have my stories. I don't know if we even talked about what we were going to talk about.
I don't either, really. Exactly.
I
got to look the one thing up that I did want to talk about that I looked up last night.
Okay. Do you want me to start with mine? I've got a wrap up for last year because we're always about communication and how important words are and what we say in our understanding of each other and how we get along, which apparently we don't do a great job at as human beings.
Yeah, we suck.
We kind of do. Anyway, so word of the year.
Oh, we have a word
I
of
think
the year.
I think the dichotomy of last year's word of the year, or slang word, let me clarify that one, slang word of the year, and this year's, there's such a shift in the feeling. So 2024's or 2023's word of the year, according to OED or yeah, I think.
The Oxford English Dictionary.
The word was Riz.
Riz.
If you recall, the word was Riz, and I think the only time I've ever said it in this past year was when I said it that they had made it the word of the year.
Yeah.
So it's not something that has been part of my lexicon, but it's the shortening of the word charisma. And, you say somebody has Riz. It wasn't until Tom Holland
I thought charisma was a girl's first name now.
Well, it can be.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sure she'd have to have Riz then.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So anyway, someone who's successful in attracting romantic partners. You got style.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So that was made famous by Tom Holland when a TikToker, he took that from a TikToker. So 2022 is when the word went viral. In 2023, they made it the word of the year. This year's word of the year, though, is brain rot.
Brain rot.
Yes.
So we've gone from Riz to brain rot.
So from charisma and romance to.
Now, is this because of like the movie 28 Years Later that's coming out?
No.
Or zombies in any way?
This is the Oxford University Press Word of the Year, chosen for its It's being adapted, of course, by Gen Z and Gen Alpha on all the socials. Okay. And it comes from,
I think we're going to stop because now we're at the alpha. So now it's just going to be Gen Beta, Gen Charlie, Gen Delta. Is that where we're going?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how they come up with it, and I can't keep track of it anymore.
I'm not going to.
And I don't try.
I'm not even going to try.
But that's because we're over 60.
Yes. Now and things were better when we were younger.
No, it's just the natural progression.
No, things were better.
It's the natural progression.
Okay. Things were better.
So brain rot. That's what we're all.
Certainly have more freedom.
It's the deterioration of our mental and intellectual state as a result of overconsumption of material, especially online material, trivial or unchallenging material.
Trivial.
It leads to our deterioration.
Well, that's terrible.
And maybe last night's actions kind of showed that.
Oh, yeah.
We are deteriorating.
Well, we of course did our traditional welcoming of the New Year's by going to bed around 9 o'clock and going to sleep.
Don't admit that.
And
because I don't really see it as a big.
But we did turn on a fan for the dog so he could drown out the noise of fireworks.
And that kept him from barking.
And that's a
tip.
Help.
There's a tip.
That's
a tip for you folks.
There's a tip for you from the folks at Long of the Boot.
If you have a dog with anxiety and noises bother
Hey, kids, have you tried a fan?
It works for you. Maybe it'll work for your dog. So there we are, the language. It seems a shift in the attitude or the feel of society is how I...
Brain rot.
Yeah.
There's so many things I could apply that to.
Well, and I mean, there are a lot of other words that came up, phrases and slang, but
I do worry brain rot though. I mean, if it covers the idea of nobody has to remember anything anymore.
No,
and I'm really curious how that is going to manifest itself in the future. Mm-hmm. As far as like a show like Jeopardy is the people who win on Jeopardy are for the most part very, very literate people.
Yes, they read a lot.
And
they remember what they read.
Right. So will that show go away or will it be instead they're going to turn it into Pop Jeopardy?
Well, I was going to say that's the evolution.
With Colin Jost.
That's the transition from the old type of knowledge to the new type of knowledge. Good or bad, it's happening. And I don't think there's any stopping that except, cutting off the internet.
Pop knowledge.
Well, but they have those categories and
but there's always been pop knowledge, but there's also should be a core of established knowledge.
You're not going to get that. And you're just one guy. So, there you are.
One guy.
All right. You're the guy.
That's right.
Well, you're the guy in my life, baby.
Thanks.
There you go. Nepo baby actually made it in as one of the 200 new words on
one of the problems in society today, I think.
Yeah, because,
I think
it works in politics too,
especially in politics, but it also in the entertainment field now, where especially if we're going to allow celebrities to have importance in things that they really don't know anything about.
Yeah. Well, but maybe they do know because they have money, so they run in circles that we don't have contact with.
Well, no, what I mean is somebody who makes well above the average wage.
Yes.
Telling people who make the average wage what they're doing wrong.
Yes.
That absolutely drives me nuts by virtue of the fact that they have money because they have no expertise.
And then they influence our politicians who we elected to do what we want, but because we don't have that kind of money to influence them and to give them something.
Exactly. You're leveraging your dollars as if it's expertise, which it isn't. But it has become that. But it has become that, which makes everybody dumber.
Well, and ultimately more disgruntled.
Because it's still, I remember way back, a long time ago when they were having hearings in Congress about the problem with spraying apples with this chemical called Alar, which was poisoning apples supposedly. And they brought to speak on this topic someone who was in a movie about this.
Who must have researched it,
It was Meryl Streep.
Oh.
So not only did she bring her expertise in the chemical component of Alar.
But you know what? That was a while back, and now everybody's
But that's my point. Now,
on everything.
Now we just bring them in.
Because we just Google it. AI will tell us. AI will tell. We're trusting computers and AI more than other human beings.
So now when we talk about the civil rights, we can bring in Robert Downey Jr., who played a white man playing a black man in a movie. There we go. See, it works.
Meta. We can't do that. All right. So that solves nothing, of course.
No. Well, that's our goal.
Is
always
to
solve nothing
and solve nothing.
Absolutely.
But as long as we know, then we make our choices.
Yeah, don't get me started writing a manifesto. You don't want me to write a manifesto.
Let's not talk about Luigi. Although that was part of the year.
His sweater sold out big time for Christmas.
Yeah, and the cop who was next to him, his tennis shoes went viral. Yeah. And they were selling for like $500 a pair. And
if you want to know how bad our insurance is in America, the reaction to the murder of that poor CEO, whose name I don't even remember. But
we know Luigi.
Well, I know Luigi because that's Mario's brother.
And Chuck Mangione.
Chuck Mangione.
Relative. I don't know. I don't think that's true. I'm not. Don't spread that. I don't think they're related.
And I think that song, weirdly enough, is called "Feeling Good."
Oh, do you think he was listening to it on his tunes?
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
That would. That would be just super
Here we are, sucked right into the same story.
All right, we're not going to do that.
Okay.
No,
let's talk about something important, something that is at the top of the news.
You have it, or
something,
do you want me?
Something that I think is absolutely imperative that we talk about, and that's the dildo laws in Texas.
Oh, dear Lord. You brought it to that.
I did.
All right. Do it.
Well, it turns out that Texas, Texas.
Our neighbor.
Our neighbor to the west, or to the left, if you're looking at the map from the front.
If you're worried about such things, yeah.
If you care about such things. Texas has gone weird. Remember when Texas was cool? Remember that?
Yeah. The great Republic of Texas.
Yeah.
And they had the most beautiful girls and
Austin was really laid back and everybody was chill.
And it was weird.
And everybody still had guns.
You know what? It was the vibe.
There you go.
It was a good vibe.
It was.
And now it's weird, but it's a bad vibe.
Then they go and they get a governor who's in a wheelchair, and I don't know what that has to do with what happened in Texas, but it's got to be related. It's got to be.
No, don't tie that together. Handicap does not know.
He stays in one place.
I'm sorry. Handy-capable.
Oh, he's handy-capable. All right. Well, maybe it's the Attorney General Paxton. Anyway.
You're saying it's the people in charge.
Were you aware?
No, I didn't
know about the dildo Texas law. Well,
I didn't think you could buy them in
Texas. But there is a limit.
Oh.
In Texas, by law, no one may own more than 6 dildos.
What if you're a business?
Well, then you have to register as a sex business.
And then you can have as many dildos as you want.
And this is where the problem lies. Because a Texas lawmaker, I'm not even going to look, but
man or woman?
Hang on. Prognostication here. I believe it will be a woman.
And her name will be?
Karen. All right.
No.
Oh, almost. We were this close. A Texas lawmaker has introduced a bill that would ban dildos and vibrators from pharmacies across the state, arguing that children should not be exposed to obscene devices while visiting drugstores. Authored by newly elected state representative Hillary Hickland.
She's a Hillary.
A Republican representing Temple, Texas, she seeks to prohibit the sale of sex toys in businesses unless they are registered as sexually oriented businesses.
Okay, but the Walgreens and CVS pharmacy dildos are massagers.
That's right.
They don't
even on the box, you see the woman holding it against her neck.
They don't advertise them, and they don't look like dicks.
Well, they're dick shaped.
Yeah, but they're not
dickish.
No, you go into a sex related store, and they advertise them as a sexual product.
I think we're missing the point here.
And besides, is your kid standing there?
I think we're really missing the point, which is
She's
one.
Telling you how many you can have.
Texas seemed to be ahead of the game by saying, you need a dildo? Man, just run down to the CVS. Pick yourself up a dildo. It's not a problem. But no, we have people like Hillary here who's like, hey, nobody is in need of a dildo at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I would say, Hillary, ma'am, you seem to be in need of a dildo at 2 o'clock in the morning. Why? She's newly elected. This is
what she chooses.
She goes right for the dildo.
Ground.
I'm sorry. There's nothing else wrong in Temple, Texas.
Maybe she ran on the dildo platform.
Ran on the dildo?
Platform. Of stopping them. And maybe the Mothers Against Everything got out there and said, yes, Hillary, and they elected her.
And remember, she's doing this to protect the children.
Of course. And I again ask you, how long is your kid standing at the massager section in the pharmacy? And if you're taking them into the sex store, well, that's on you, parent.
It says, this seems like putting a hat on a hat, given Texas' long, strange, uncomfortable history of sex toys. Texas already has laws in the books prohibiting the sale of obscene devices, a.k.a. any device primarily for stimulation of the junk. A law passed in 2003 made it so you can't have an electric toothbrush, for instance. A law passed in 2003 made it illegal to own 6 or more vibrators or dildos. That was an addendum. Okay. 2003, they're like, oh, all right, you can have dildos, but no more than 6.
No,
because 7 is stupid.
It's obscene.
6 shall be the counting of the dildos. Stoppeth not at 5, nor move on to 7.
And my next question would be, is there a limit on how big they can be?
See, that's my question.
Because
maybe we should establish a length limit. So 6 dildos.
Small, medium, large, and XL?
Well, to be generous, let's just say 60 inches in total.
Should be long enough.
And that should be any number of dildos, provided they do not extend past 60 inches.
Isn't that really part of the issue? I mean, at a pharmacy, you're not seeing obscenely large massagers.
I would hope not.
That's my point about it not being sexual in a pharmacy. Now,
I did see where at Buc-ee's you can get one that runs off a 12-volt battery.
No,
I made that up.
That is not true. Stop it. Stop it. Spreading lies already. The 2025 is about to be ripe with lies. We don't need them here. Okay. So,
by the way, this is actually one of the weird things is Hickman's bill would merely be another anti-sex toy law thrown onto the pile of sex toy laws they are trying to pass currently. There's other ones.
Okay.
Only this time it's a rare instance of a Republican going after major corporations, i.e. the drugstores, but only because this corporation dared to acknowledge that its adult customers might enjoy sex once in a while.
Oh, my Lord. Why is the government involved in any of this business? That's all I need to know.
And
hygiene.
I love
that's about the only aspect.
And I want the writer of this article, this is how they ended it. This is a great conclusion. Look, most people just want easy access to vibrators and to move on with their lives. Don't worry about kids at Target getting corrupted by the sight of a sex toy on the high shelf. They're too busy looking at their iPads to notice anyway.
Thank you.
Besides, that iPad is doing way more corruption to your kid than a vibrator ever could.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done.
Concise and to the point.
But anyway, so if you're traveling through Texas and you have 7 or more dildos in your luggage, you need to get rid of one of those. And may I suggest, just give it to a homeless person. Help them out.
Interesting thought.
Is that okay?
Well, I guess they deserve an orgasm too.
Sure, why not?
Or that doubles as a massager when they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
storage, though, so don't make it a big one.
I have one other story that I'd like to run with real quick.
Do you? That was so low. I guess you got to go.
Well, I'm gonna redeem it by talking about the stupidity of educators and the police.
Oh my! All right, I'm gonna get to end it on a positive note, though, right?
You could.
Okay, as long as I get my positive time.
You know what? No, I'm not going to read this story. Okay. I'm going to let it go. What do you got? Tell me what you're. Oh, you want to end it on what you've got, right?
Well, yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
I have historical mysteries solved in 2024.
Well, then let me impart to you a bit of history that I discovered.
Okay.
And I think it's kind of interesting, and it's one of those weird things that it popped up in my head.
Oh no!
For some reason, and I said, I wonder, and I followed it. And it has to do with something that's kind of holiday related, because I was noticing at the store the other day, the number of things you can buy that are made to be cooked in a crock pot.
Oh, yeah. Well, because we like one pot cooking. It's very efficient.
Well, then I thought, well, wait a minute, but a crock pot is a special type of cooker. What?
No, it's a brand.
Well, before it became a brand. I'll get into it.
But when I was a kid, Crock Pot was a
brand. Yes, that's true.
Like Q-tip.
But we refer now to all of them as crock pots.
All of those devices as crock pots. But nobody wants that anymore. They all want air fryers.
Well, they can't call them crock pots. You'll notice a lot of times they're called slow cookers.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Anyway, it dawned on me, who the heck created this crock pot? Because when I was a kid, I can remember when Mom got one for the first time, and what a revelation it was that she could put a bunch of crap in it when we all left in the morning, and when we got home, dinner was ready.
So it was a life-saving device for mothers. Saved so much time.
It really was,
and it's a tradition.
So I thought it was interesting that that the crock pot. So I said, well, who invented this silly thing? And it turns out that it actually has a pretty interesting history.
All right, we'll get to it.
Well, I will. First of all, more than 80 years old. The crock pot's been around.
Okay.
The crock pot's been.
I was a kid before that.
1940 was the patent application.
So, in such world turmoil.
And believe it or not, we have in Washington, D.C., the Division of Work and Industry at the National Museum of American History. So a division of work and industry at the National Museum. So they have this in the museum. It says one of the things that makes the crock pot unique is its ubiquity, which, nice word. So they're talking about how even now today, people have crock pots that they've had for 20, 30 years, and they're still using
work, yeah.
And
crock pot brand crock pots.
The story takes place or begins in the 1800s.
Okay.
In Vilna, a Jewish neighborhood of Vilnius in Lithuania. And it was actually once known as the Jerusalem of the North.
Okay. Lithuania.
Yep. Jews. Hello, lots of Jews. Anyway, Vilna attracted a community of writers and academics mostly, and these were Jewish professors and writers and journalists.
Creatives.
And, of course, Jewish families have to have the Sabbath, or they prepare the Sabbath. They prepare a stew of meat, beans, and vegetables on Fridays before nightfall. And what they would do is they would bring their crocks full of their ingredients to the local bakeries, and the bakery ovens would be turned off, but they would be cooling down overnight.
Oh,
so they would put the crock pots inside, and these were just pots, metal pots. They would put them inside the ovens.
Probably clay.
And over time, on the Sabbath, when they were not allowed to cook, the food was already done.
Yeah.
And it's a stew known as cholent.
So it's not that they have to fast on the Sabbath, it's that they can't cook.
They can't cook. They're not allowed to work.
Oh, okay.
And the stew is known as cholent. Well, that brings us up to the early 1900s, and a guy named Irving Nakumson. He learned of this tradition. They were telling stories around the table.
Yeah.
And they talked about how people used to do this. So,
and he said, hey,
oy vey. They immigrated from Russia and then headed out for Fargo, North Dakota.
Oh, dear Lord.
I'm assuming because they were crazy.
Because they didn't understand.
After getting to North Dakota, of course, her husband died.
Oh.
Because that's what happens when you go to North Dakota. The cold kills you. Eventually, they crossed into the border into Winnipeg, and that was in order to keep them from being drafted during World War I, her boys.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Anyway, the son, Irving, studied electrical engineering through a correspondence course with the company Western Electric.
Oh, wow.
My mama used to work for Western Electric in Chicago. He became Western Electric's first Jewish engineer.
Wow. And he did it by mail?
Oh, man.
Like he would do online, or not, well, not
yeah,
online.
It was basically a correspondence course. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking at a picture right now of duck cholent. Oh, it looks so good. Beans and potatoes and duck in a gravy. In
a crock pot?
Oh, man. No, it's in a bowl. Oh, okay. It's ready to eat.
All right. Get to it. Finish it up.
Anyway, so this guy, Nakumson, who everybody knew him as Naxon. That everybody assumed his last name was Naxon because he founded a company called Naxon. But anyway, he had a passion for inventing. He also passed the bar exam.
Okay.
So he could avoid hiring a patent lawyer. He didn't want to spend the money.
Oh, yes.
He started his own company, Naxon Utilities, where he focused on honing his inventions. Some of his inventions included the electric frying pan, the first modern lava lamp.
Oh, wow.
His telesign laid the groundwork for the electronic news scrollers that light up major cities, delivering headlines and stock movements. The most famous is the Times Square zipper. So he invented that crawl where it said, like, America wins the war
Happy
or whatever.
New Year, yes, D-Day, yeah, all that. Cool.
He was really big on trying to solve household problems.
Practical things.
And the reason he created the slow cooker was not because of the stories of the women taking the pots. It was because it got freaking hot. And he didn't like the apartment getting all hot in the summertime. So anyway, his slow cooker then went to market a decade later, and during the 50s, and we don't know why the delay. It just seems like he was working on other stuff, and he put it in a corner and just let it sit for a while.
Let it simmer?
Yeah, and he then changed his name to Naxon. He actually went because his German name during World War II just wasn't a real handy thing to have. So he officially changed his last name to Naxon.
Oh, okay.
And he then tried to market his first slow cooker, but this is what he called it: the Naxon Beanery.
The Beanery.
The Beanery.
Today it's a coffee shop.
Right. But it was a crock pot.
But it was a failure as a beanery.
Correct.
Okay.
However,
you got to label it correctly.
Right. However, in Kansas City, a company called Rival saw this cooker and went,
Oh.
And so when he retired, he sold his entire business to Kansas City's Rival Manufacturing for cold hard cash.
Yeah.
And they renamed it the Crock Pot.
Okay.
Yeah. And in 1971, at the National Housewares Show, they unveiled its new branded version called the Crock Pot. And they had a book with recipes, the first cooker to come with recipes designed for the cooker itself.
Yeah.
And apparently Harvest Gold and avocado were the most popular in the 1970s.
Of course they were. And it's come back around.
And in 1971, the first year they were available to the public,
71,
$2 million in sales.
Okay.
4 years later, $93 million in sales.
Of course.
And there's a picture of the original Rival Crock Pot slow cooker, off, low, and high, avocado green with that brown rim.
Yes.
We all saw it. This is the one my mom had.
Yep.
Had the little pictures of the food at the bottom. And it still works, apparently.
Nice. Well.
And so there you go.
The evolution.
Isn't that cool?
From one thought, from one idea. And then he had the skills to do that. And look how he did it. That was perfect. I haven't really thought about correspondence training before, how that was a critical thing in a time when.
And it still consistently wins. This is one of the things that got me was last year, 12 million were sold. 12 million more.
Still.
And people use them all over. There are actual food trucks where all they make, everything they make is in crock pots.
And they just have that cooking all the time.
All the time.
Well, that keeps it fresh and hot.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So anyway.
Probably keeps waste down.
There you go.
Very cool.
And more recipes are written for the crock pot than any other cooking device.
So get rid of everything else and just a crock pot.
And especially your phone. Just get rid of it. You don't need it.
We don't need that.
In fact, if you throw a phone in a crock pot, delicious.
But then the crock pot might not work again because of the brain rot.
That's true.
Yeah, it could happen.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I almost forgot the last thing. The most popular thing, recipe-wise, at least online, that they can find that people make for the crock pot.
Beef.
Salisbury steak.
Oh, I was going to say beef stew.
Ground beef, Italian breadcrumbs, and a pack of onion soup mix.
That's it.
And water.
Yeah. You can put it over noodles or rice.
I don't know.
Yeah, either one.
Either one. Potatoes.
So, yeah. Potatoes, that's true.
Yeah.
Cauliflower.
You know what? That sounds pretty good.
No, it's too late. We're having 15 bean soup.
Yep.
Yes, New Year's Day. You got to eat your black-eyed peas.
They're in there.
There are some traditions I will not.
There's a whole bunch
with.
of other beans in there too, but black-eyed peas are in there.
But I'm not messing with some traditions.
We're gonna have.
I said we're not traditional, but there are some things you got to have.
Black-eyed pea be one.
Yeah.
You got to have a pea.
I'm not doing that. All right. So language. I'll save our historical mysteries.
Oh, we got some mysteries.
No, I'm going to save that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to end it up with language. We started with language.
We did.
Yeah. And well, actually, I think that's a vital thing.
And we managed to not really talk about politics too much.
Why? Everybody knows what's happened. We all know what's about to happen, mostly.
A lot of things did happen though over the course of the year. It's really kind of surprising. I didn't realize.
Do you need to do that? Then you can do that.
Well, one of the things I thought was interesting was how many states are trying to change their flags.
For what reason?
Just to do it.
To change the devices on them?
Well, some of them that's because of a racist element. Some of them they figure it's not inclusive. My favorite, Illinois actually put it up to the people to submit ideas. And the one that got a lot of votes that's really funny is it's just a picture of Lincoln using laser beam eyes to torch the Confederate flag.
Well,
Land of Lincoln.
Lincoln has been given some qualities that I never knew he had.
We had the Baltimore Bridge collapse back in March, I mean, that was huge.
The Francis Scott Key Bridge. Yeah. That was huge. Okay.
What else?
We elected Donald Trump.
Oh, we still had the fighting in Israel. No shock.
Well, that hadn't stopped.
Madonna set the record for the largest concert in history by a single recording artist.
Wow.
1.6 million people turned out for it, and it was free.
Wow. All right.
Then again, it was Madonna.
Yeah, but the people came.
It's Brazil. They love her in Brazil.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I can see that.
And I also thought it was interesting that in April 15th, actually, was the 150th anniversary of Impressionism. In 1874, 30 artists, including Claude Monet and Paul Cézanne, staged the first Impressionist exhibit. And their work was immediately disliked by all critics. The art movement, though, has become one of the most influential in art.
Absolutely.
But it was hated when it came out.
I wonder what their critiques were.
They were probably standing too close.
Oh, they backed
I just
up.
can't make it out. Yeah, back up, fool.
I am immediately attracted to that style just because.
Oh, and of course, on May 30th, Donald Trump was convicted of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, which means, of course, he'll be spending the rest of his life in jail.
Or president of the United States.
Or that.
Yeah. Well, I got no predictions. The universe works out as it should, and whatever will happen, will happen. Que sera, sera.
Okay, Doris.
Yeah, well.
That's a Doris Day for youngsters.
Look, I understand the realities of life.
I do.
The vagaries and the clear things. It's all just a toss up.
Yeah.
So I get up every day and
my mama passed away in 2024.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer.
It
sucked.
It's all part of the experience.
It's part of the show.
So again, it's part of the show.
Julian Assange got released finally.
Yeah.
That
was long going, but not everybody follows all that. Not everybody follows the news.
Oh, man, back in June, we had the Trump-Biden debate. I wonder how that went. Nothing came of it, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
And actually, the one that got me was July 1st. And this one, I'm going to read it word for word.
Oh, please.
In Trump versus the United States, the Supreme Court ruled that all former presidents are entitled to absolute immunity from criminal prosecution for acts that involve the exercise of their core constitutional powers, and to presumptive immunity for all other official acts.
So they can get away with anything.
Yes.
Yes. All right. It's law now.
And then they made that ruling, and 13 days later, Donald Trump was shot in the ear. I'm not saying they're related. I'm just saying.
And whatever happened with the golf course guy?
Yeah, you never really heard anything with that, did you?
I never heard another story about that. He laid
a ditch for 12 hours.
Lay in wait, yes.
Somehow knowing.
Yeah. Well,
very strange.
At least he was in a ditch.
And then we had Kamala Harris, of course, first black woman to lose a presidential election. It's only the second woman, but the first black woman.
Well, no, there was another woman that ran
not a black woman.
No, not a black woman, but there was another woman that ran for president in the 1800s.
She didn't count, though. She wasn't really on the ballot.
You know what? During her time,
she wasn't on the ballot.
She went on the ballot. She was running. That was bold back then. Bold, I tell you. That woman she deserves, the props.
Let's see.
For just trying.
Yeah, Quincy Jones died.
Nobody that listens to us knows who the hell.
Well,
Quincy
that's
Jones
their
was.
problem.
I mean, they can Google it, but I don't want them to have to look at a device.
Deb, he produced Thriller. Thriller.
And a famous daughter.
Yeah, well, Thriller, Deb.
Peggy Lipton.
Thriller. I mean, I know it's not Wham.
No, I remember I was at LSU when Thriller came on. Thriller. I locked my keys in my dorm room that night. I had to go get help. I didn't have $5 to get another key, but we stayed in the foyer and watched with everybody. So I still got to see the premiere of the Thriller video with 100 plus LSU students that I didn't know.
And of course, on December 29th, right before the end of the year.
You are rude.
What?
You are rude.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I do?
Nothing.
I missed something.
Yes, you did. Go.
Help me. What did I miss? you got to tell me, man.
Commentary, man.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
No, finish up.
I was doing the thing. December 29th, 2024, Jimmy Carter died at 100 years of age.
Yes. And we're all still on that one. So the idea, of course, is that America as a country puts their flags at half-mast for 30 days.
30.
After a president has died.
Yes.
Okay. So when Trump takes office,
on the 20th,
we will still be in mourning as a country.
Correct.
So put your black on.
No.
Wear your black. Well, you're wearing it, fool.
I wear black all the time.
Exactly.
That's what we fat men do.
Yes.
Don't you know that?
No, that's what we all do. It's a flattering color.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty much becomes everybody.
I like it.
Okay. So there's a fashion tip. Man, we're just handing out the tips today.
That's so full of tips.
So Jimmy Carter's death.
Like Eckerd's and...
Like Eckerd's.
And other drugstores.
Oh my God, you tried to bring it back to dildos. That is so lame. I am not allowing that.
No, they don't have tips. I'm sure they're circumcised.
Well, they're all shaped like Musk's rocket at the pharmacy.
No, it's Bezos has the
right.
rocket that
Bezos.
Really looks like.
You know what? The difference between those two.
I know.
One has hair, the other doesn't. One's doughy.
Doughy, pasty. Just looks like raw dough. All right. Somewhat human shape.
We're not going to devolve down into
I am
personally attacking
Elon Musk. I will absolutely personally attack Elon Musk. Look, I'm no spring chicken, but dude, lift a weight.
It's such a strange story. I can't imagine where this is going to go because it's already gotten so weird. I couldn't have predicted it.
Well, I've got a thing here that says he's living in Mar-a-Lago.
Yes, he's living at Mar-a-Lago.
Turned into like that guy that was living in O.J. Simpson's house.
Yes.
Can we have a murder on property now? That would be great.
And a chase in a Tesla?
Yes.
Oh, well, that'll end quickly.
Hey, who's in the back seat? You know who the back seat? You know who it is, man. It's Elon Musk.
Oh, that's so sad. It's going to happen again.
A slow chase.
History repeats itself.
A slow chase in Tesla trucks.
That's it.
That would be great.
All right. It would be great. And it could happen. You know why? Because
anything's possible. That's right. Point. It's a magic year. The year of the sneaky snake.
It is the snake. The Chinese New Year.
We're all going to be sneaky snakes.
Well, you have the transition. You have the changing, the shedding of your skin.
Yes.
And the brain rot to go with it.
Sure.
I just can't get
Well, that comes from the bite.
The poison that's being ingested.
Coursing through your veins.
Oh, my Lord. Well, apparently this is the year of nature. We have to, science is now telling us we must get back to nature. Bat watching, beach exploring, sniff walks.
What about pandemics? Science is telling us that too. And don't drink raw milk.
But no, good Lord. It's our tonic for loneliness. It's the thing that's going to reduce our blood pressure. And they've been trying for years. You know, the Japanese have a name for it. Shinrin Yoko, or forest bathing. We've heard about it. It was just a hippie fad for a long time.
I remember.
But now it's coming back around, and we're saying, you know, like one of our words this year was touch grass. To say to somebody, you need to touch grass, right? Participate in normal real world activities, especially being in nature.
Right.
So you need to go out and experience it. You know, now they are having more science that's telling them that this is absolutely going to be helpful. But I can't wait to see how the pharmaceutical companies feel about it.
Well, they're going to come up with a pill that will simulate
that
touching of grass.
Well, and you know, it was interesting because part of the study, when they're trying to look at people as they're doing this, the discussions, the conversations between people when they're out in nature versus when they're in town, in the city, or in their homes, or in an enclosure.
Yeah.
The conversations are positive. You don't talk about, you know, Donald Trump. You don't talk about those things. You talk about the nature around you. You talk about more, I guess, life-affirming things. So being in nature changes that as well.
Well, then, yeah, and so soon people will be in nature because they're going to have to go start picking food because all the workers in California are going to be deported.
I know, and you know what? That brings it back to our story from New Orleans, right?
He's an immigrant.
Because he's an immigrant, and now that's part.
Or is he?
I don't know, because they're going to twist everything. Nobody believes anything.
He had a pennant. I saw the picture, and he's got a pole with a pennant.
But they
threw a coat over it.
So I want to know
what was on that flag.
Yeah, and when they decide what they want us to know, then we'll know.
Will we?
Well, they'll tell us.
That's the problem.
We won't know, and we're suspect that we'll know the truth. So everything now that we ingest, even our students are jaded about that. They don't want to believe half of what
they don't believe
hear.
in Helen Keller. Again, I know. Point that out.
Yeah.
They don't think she even existed.
that all the video, everything's just
same with fake. The moon landing.
Yeah.
All fake. Every bit of it.
So then, will they believe AI? That if you're turning to AI for counseling, for, you know, intimate parts of your life, for a friend, I don't know how. Maybe could you take AI to nature, take it out there with you?
But you're going to have your AI pastor.
And exactly. That's what I'm saying, for counseling. So if we're going to go to that, and we trust that, but we don't trust what the media, I don't know.
Hello.
It's like it is a terrorist attack.
Would you like to confess?
It is a terrorist attack. There's too much chaos. I don't understand.
Yes. Let it out. Is there anything else?
Yes, I have 7 dildos.
7 dildos.
And
That's
I live in Texas.
Number of oh my God.
Are they coming to arrest me? Okay.
Dildo police.
For the record, I live in Louisiana, so if I wanted 7 dildos, it'd be all right. I don't have 7 dildos.
No.
But, you know, just saying.
But I do have 7 paddles that are strangely dildo shaped.
That's not true either. We are not starting the new year with lies.
I'm making stuff up right and left. A good time to do it.
I think you should Rickroll yourself.
No. It's the year of the snake.
Never going to give you up. Okay.
Year of the sneaky snake.
So then I think from language to language, we need to wrap it up. From language to lies.
Miss Long, you have the floor, please.
Well, I'm just going to say that, you know, the year moves on.
It does.
And we started again at 1.
Back to 1.
So really, I think that's the symbolic idea here, is that we've gone full circle and we're back to 1. So it is a fresh start symbolically.
And we got new people going into their jobs to administer our country.
Yes,
again, I think people need to pass it on. They work for us.
They work for us.
They work for us. They work for us. That needs to be said by everyone constantly. Yes. No one who takes a job making $170,000 a year, who isn't a millionaire, should be one when they leave that office 2 years later.
No, not with $170,000.
No, period. If they are a millionaire when they leave, it's because they somehow grafted the system.
They did something.
Or they're a grifter.
Yeah, they don't have Riz, or maybe they do have Riz, and it's all a lie. Okay, I'm not going to use that word again, though. I promise you, I'm not going to say Riz again.
No, you don't want to do that. It's I don't like that word.
Here, one last thing as we leave, because it's just funny to me, is somebody that lives in the South, and it's something we've been complaining about quite a while. From the science and nature category, Merriam-Webster added heat index to the dictionary. Not a slang, but yes.
The opposite of wind chill.
Calculation using air temperature and relative humidity so that, we know truly what it feels like when it's 103 outside in July in Louisiana.
But it's not. That's the heat index.
103 might be real. Heat index then would be like 107.
If we get to 103 in Louisiana, that means the humidity is actually down.
Oh, gosh. It's just amusing.
That's how that works.
But that's how we communicate, right? So now when you say the temperature, you have to ask, are we talking heat index or are we just talking a real temperature? I want the real. Just always give me the real
temperature.
Just give me the real.
Beer-flavored beer, coffee-flavored coffee, temperature-flavored temperature.
All right. So that's for your page only then on your media. That's what we'll send to you, those kinds of things, the real stuff. The real. So everybody
Time to get real.
You need to get out in nature. You need to have a sniff.
Well, you should.
And enjoy yourself and know that it's not all that serious.
Well, I don't know. It can be pretty serious. I mean, what about this story?
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you.
All right.
So that's your promise? Thank you. You know what? I think that's a perfect way to end 2024. And
with Rick Astley.
Well, no, with the promise.
Who probably doesn't own six.
Your promise that you're never going to give me up. You're never going to let me down.
Well, I don't know about that.
You're not going to run around. I know
I'm not going to run around. My legs don't work.
Your knee hurts.
My knee hurts all the time.
So he's not going to run around.
Not running.
You're not going to hurt or desert me.
I won't desert you.
Okay.
I will fix you dessert, but I will not desert you.
See, I take Rick rolling differently. I appreciate that.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. Happy New Year, baby.
Happy New Year.
What is it?
I don't know, 2025, I think.
So like 41 of them we've experienced together?
God, math. Nobody said anything about math.
I think
hang on, I have a calculator shaped like a dildo right here. I can.
So we can calculate the inches.
So basically now, what about lipstick? I'm sorry, lipstick is dildo shaped.
And that's an intentional design.
So if you have 7 tubes of lipstick?
There's a topic for the future.
Lipstick?
I will talk about the evolution. And, we understand personality of women based on the type of tip they pick. Now, I haven't done my research, but I have heard all of these things over the years as a female, knowing about makeup to some degree. I'm certainly no expert.
No.
But I do know that the tip of the lipstick, the style that you choose, whether it's pointy, flat, it all
bulbous,
has meaning to your personality as a female. Or as a male. As a guy,
no judgment.
Too,
this is a no judgment zone right here, buddy.
It's 2025.
If I'm going to judge you, I'm going to do it in my own brain, and that's just the way it should be. We all do that.
Does it live rent free?
Yes.
Speaking of words, I got some new ones.
Yeah, I got so much crap floating around in my head. Who knows? You
know what? Don't overdo yourself, people. It's all just part of the journey.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So. And go out and have a good 2025. And all you folks with little ones, keep posting the pictures because
we love
you
that.
Former students that have babies, you got some cute babies out there. You got some cute babies. Except for you. You know who you are. Your baby's a little funny looking.
That's just wrong, Mr. Long. Just wrong.
Oh, it don't mean nothing.
All right. Well, the standard routine, maintenance, balance, and your joy is portable. You need to bring it with you through 2025.
There you go.
Yeah.
And all you listeners, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And, best of luck in the next 12 months. It's going to be an interesting ride.
Well, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Gosh, darn it.
We live in interesting times now.
As well, you don't have to worry about 12 months. 2
No,
weeks.
I was talking about listeners, not you.
Oh, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
People like Bryant and Josh and Austin. People like that. That's who I was talking about.
The ones living life?
That's right. They're living life. Living large.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they know who they are. We appreciate each and every one of our listeners. Y'all have a great 2025. What's that thing you say about the joy? What was it?
I said it.
You already said it?
Yeah, I did.
Say it again. I don't believe you.
Joy is portable. Bring it with you.
There you go. Year's Day.
2025, dear.
2025.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
That it starts this way?
Yep.
Well, I don't think it was a start or a stop. It don't work like that. It's kind of like weather, There's not a line.
It's ongoing.
It's just not a definitive.
Life is ongoing.
Line. Yeah, we're all just in the process of constant transition. It's weird to say, but you're wearing your Bourbon Street Choppers T-shirt.
Am I really?
You are.
Oh wow.
It's kind of
weird.
Choppers.
Bourbon Street Choppers.
Well, I don't think that was an intentional.
I didn't even know.
No.
It couldn't be, since it was the T-shirt I was wearing when I went to bed.
Oh dear.
So
don't admit that on the air.
I don't care.
Record that. I'm wearing the same shirt. You didn't wear it to bed though.
No, I took it out before I got in bed, but it's my jammy shirt still.
Okay. So what you're saying is you would not wear that T-shirt on Bourbon.
That I could say that I would not go to Bourbon Street. In fact, it was in no danger of going to Bourbon Street. Okay. Haven't been for quite some time.
But I did get that T-shirt for you on Bourbon Street in New Orleans with Scarlett.
Yes.
Scarlett, one of our excursions.
Oh, I thought you were going to say one of our daughters.
Well, that you know of. Coda just has to tell you.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
That's all it is.
Yes. He'll admit it one day.
One day.
One day.
Yeah.
No, one of our many excursions. Scarlett and I have gone to New Orleans a couple times ourselves. I don't think we will be doing that in the future. I certainly won't go to the Teachers Leader Conference ever again in my history.
Why not?
Well, in the past, you always were like, I can't believe they're having it in New Orleans. It's such a dangerous city. And most of the time I was like, yeah, but life is dangerous and it'll all be all right. And now, you know what is it, like 5,000 to 8,000 teachers, superintendents from parishes all over?
No, thank you.
No. Yeah. That is a target now.
It's a target-rich environment, too.
Yeah, it really is. So, no.
So I just don't care for it.
I don't think they should be having all of those big, giant conferences.
Well, I don't either.
Yeah, okay. We learn things. We learn the newest programs.
Sure, we could,
platforms
whatever.
To use. And,
here, wait a minute. Checking my levels. Checking my O levels.
Okay. Is that like an O face?
Yeah, just like that.
Please don't.
Oh.
No.
Okay, there we go. That's what I was looking for. So I could push my microphone away. If you want to push your microphone a little bit away, you can now.
You think?
You should be able to.
All right, there.
There you go.
Okay, I was being too relaxed. You haven't played the music. That's why I was too
relaxed.
Yeah,
I'm going to do that, I think. I think I should probably press the I have buttons. I wonder what these buttons are for this week. Well, we don't want to do that. I don't want to do a bunch of editing.